we do it. I'll probably take about 20 videos out of 124 that are going on this week, where people are willing or where I think I beg them to. And this group was happy to do videos, and I'll ask each group in turn, if you don't want to do videos, that's fine. It really doesn't matter. That's the camera just there. We've also got a camera in that corner. We haven't got our student mentors here yet. Oh, well, I'm late for them.
With our timing, we start when the music starts and we finish when we back.
I'm feeling very nervous. I wonder if you are. I'm always nervous for the class. I've been going to walk up and down plays for 2 hours on the plays on the back of the theatre, just doing this. Doing every act, every
even the audience looks nervous.
Because we're nervous.
That's what we said. If we don't go first, we're not going to probably pay attention to anything because we're just going to
Just like looking at your own
Okay, well, everybody's here, isn't it? Everyone is here, isn't they? Everybody is. I've just got to double press this. Tell me when you're in my fingers. Everyone else is my closer up.
Is pin one ready yet?
Oh my god.
Ready?
You ready? Alright. Are we setting a timer? We need a timer?
How you doing? Good to see you.
This on the radio?
Yeah, it is actually.
Nervous?
Yeah, a little bit. My mustache is when you
I can see it's good to know.
Yeah, we're
Hi,
alright.
Frankie. Thank you so much for inviting me. I know I'm good to see you again.
Chris, how are your cats? Good, alright?
That's why I shouldn't be running it.
No, everything's going good. Good to see you.
It's quite surprising.
Guys will see us.
All good.
Try to give us
We'll try.
Guys, are you ready? On air in 20 seconds.
Yep.
They're right, Debbie and Siggy.
Yep.
Alright. Everyone with their headphones on. We're going to be live in 10, 9, 8, 3. Good afternoon, listeners. This is Frankie Finesis, and welcome to Education FM. Today's hot topic is standardised testing, and yes, this topic is hot, hot, hot. Today I'm joined by a panel of experts from the Education Board for this new world. Please may I introduce, first of all, Rex Wright, spokesperson for the Intergalactic Business Management.
Pleasure to be here, Frankie.
Thank you, Rex. Next up, Libby Left, Chief Political Correspondent for Youth Education.
my absolute pleasure.
Chris Childs, Director of Early Education of Development.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
And down the end there we have Siggy Sykes, author of the new book, Education Sucks and I Hate Everyone. And for you guys that don't know, just recently they've become the intergalactic bestseller for the week. And last of all but not least, we have Pin One Pastor, Supreme Spiritual Leader of the Amalgamation of All Religions.
Well, thank you, Franny. It's a pleasure to be here. And may I take this opportunity to give you all a blessing? I have blessed beads from...
This is a surprise in a
Yes.
studio.
There,
That's right. Watch
there you
the
go.
headphones.
Yeah. Here you go, Rex. Blessing
So-
for you.
Thanks, mate.
What are these
Thank you.
things?
Sorry about that.
This is... Yes, no, that's fine, that's fine. Blessing for you. These are beads from the holy place in the mountain.
Ah, beautiful.
Yes.
I'm sure that the piece will come in handy later.
Yes, give us all a clear mind on this.
That's right.
Got your beach? Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
somewhere.
So we'll start the debate. Rex, I'll start with you. You seem to be on the edgiest seat, and I hear you have a very strong opinion on standardised testing. What are your thoughts?
Well, thanks for coming to me first, Ronnie. my main thought is standardised testing in education is an incredibly important issue. And I feel like me, more than anyone else on this panel, knows what they're talking about when it comes to standardised testing. Now, I'd just like to start off by saying that standardised testing is a good thing for education. You see, it's all about accountability. And that accountability that standardised testing brings is threefold. It means accountability for students, accountability for teachers, and accountability for the government.
Here, here.
Thank you. Mustache seems to fall off. Now, students deserve the right to know how they measure up against their peers. And that doesn't matter if the peer is sitting right next to them or if the peer is on the other side of the country. They need to know how good they are. It inspires competitiveness, which will help lead us forward to becoming a better society. Parents need to know that the teachers in schools are educating their children on the right topics that their government prioritises and acknowledges. And lastly, and most importantly, the government needs to know that its money is going into the right areas and that students are learning and growing in ways that will help bring them forward as future citizens of our prosperous society. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I can see the look on your... I can see the look on your faces. I know what you're thinking, and I can see it on my fellow panel members here as well. And what you're thinking, I'm sure, goes something like this. Surely there are ways that we can ensure that our students reach their maximum potential in schools without having to undergo the horrible pressures and hardships that come along with standardised testing. But let me tell to you now, good listeners and panel members, that if you think this way, unfortunately, you have your head buried in the sand. Because, like it or not, life is full of pressures and hardships. And education is an important part of life. Now, I know what some of you also may be thinking. Oh, Rick's right. He leans all the way to the right. He's never going to compromise. But that's where you're wrong, because frankly, I don't see myself as someone who's so hard and uncompromising. I'm open to change. I'm open to discussion. So I put forward right now to this panel...
It's right, we're on radio, they can't see you.
And that's good. That's really good. To this panel and to this audience, if any of you out there can find a more cost-effective, more efficient, and more intergalactically recognised way of measuring the standard of our education system, I challenge them to do so. I challenge them right now. And if they can, I'm telling you right now, good ladies and gentlemen, I will eat my moustache.
It's
Hopefully
quite
the
clear.
problems off my face.
It's quite clear, Rex, that the only person with their head in the sand is you.
Absolutely.
Oh, Ruby, it's our voices. We're on air.
Ooh, we have a very fiery Libby, our political representative. Please continue, Libby.
Yes, and I'm sure that many of our listeners will agree with me here. Life doesn't need to be full of pressure and unfair, especially for our prosperous young learners. By removing standardised testing, we have the opportunity to make it an equal playing field for all. Standardised testing does not test intelligence. It tests how well you've studied for that godforsaken test. And you know what? Yes, Rex. I do agree that students deserve the right to know how they are doing in comparison to everyone else, but they should not be competing against each other like the turtle in the hare. Every student, that's right, Rex, every student deserves a fair go, and I'm afraid that standardised testing just doesn't do that.
Jolly good. Thank you, Libby. At least one of us has a brain. Children, just like you and me, Rex, have their own individual beliefs, needs, and experiences, which they learn through. How can you possibly test them on something that they may not have learned or remembered?
Absolutely.
You are literally setting these children up to fail if the way they obtain knowledge and understanding doesn't meet the requirements of the test. And you all seem to be forgetting, what is standardised testing doing to our children's health? How can children possibly concentrate for hours at a time without getting distracted? As Libby said, standardised testing tests who can sit still and concentrate the longest. It does not test what these children know. Shouldn't we learn from the previous world and have a larger focus on physical activity? How is standardised testing going to help us fight obesity rates? Here, some children may spend more time growing and studying for these tests than being outside and being physically active. And life is stressful enough when you're an adult. Why do we want to subject our children to the pressures of stress and competition too? Children shouldn't be concerned how smart they are and be compared to their friends. What good can come from this? Most children can't even comprehend that everyone is different and has different abilities. Why should children be accountable for learning and obtaining knowledge in different ways? And finally, teachers and parents already know how their children learn. They don't need a test to tell them this.
Well, aren't you both these two dewy-eyed schoolgirls today?
Oh, Siggy, so that's really mature in this debate. Continue.
Well, what are we even here for, really? Of course the little animals should be doing standardised tests.
Animals.
If they can't last through a
Animals.
test, then how are they going to survive in the real world?
Yes, here, this guy gets it.
Now seriously, Lovey Libby and Clucky Chris.
Wow, alright.
The world revolves around power and competitiveness. Look no further than politics, sport, religion, getting a job, for goodness sake. If they can't handle that, we might as well just throw in the towel and watch our new world burn too.
Oh.
And Chris, please, leave the physical activity to the physical educators. That's not our concern here. Now, if the teachers are trained properly...
Oh, excuse me, Ziggy, educated if you please.
Oh, buff out, Lovey Libby. As I was saying, there should be nothing for them to worry about. And Rex is right. The little devils need to know they compare to everyone else.
Obviously.
Otherwise, everyone can just go on their own little holiday.
I might just correct you. My name is Libby.
No, no.
Libby is my name. This is not
So
I'm
technically
sorry.
I give up.
Alright, sorry listeners, we're going to go to a quick break. Now we've got a new song coming up. I'll see you in a second.
Dear God, dear soul, dear Mary, and Mother, can we all just get along? Can we all just get along? Dear God, dear soul, dear Mary, and Mother, can we all just get along? Can we all just get along?
Right, guys, I've just spoken to the board. You guys have got to calm down. We've got 10 minutes. We've got to wrap it up for the listeners. So, thank you. Alright, guys, we're back on in 5, 4. Alright, sorry for that break, guys. We're just going to continue on our talk about standardised testing. I think our pastor has something to say.
Now guys, we have peace. Breathe in, breathe out. Now can we see the positives? We are here not to argue, we are here to discuss. Rex, your argument, accountability, hard work, and a discipline. This is good to build a stronger person with good morals and abilities. We must be accountable for the choices we make. Therefore, a person who knows better will make a better choice. And Ruby, your strong, passionate desire for equality is what we need. People are equal and should be treated equally. And people should use their own intelligence and the power to fight for what is right. Chris, your compassion is hand in hand with the Ruby. We must care for our brothers and sisters.
Absolutely.
And we need to help those who are less fortunate
Yes.
or easily manipulated, such as our children. We must help others to have an easier pathway through life, which will give us multiple blessings and will make our pathway filled with good fortune.
Slightly off point, but yes.
Siggy, your logical sense of things is what we all need to help us stay down to earth, because we are all humans after all. We must realize the consequences and the results of our actions to make better choices. And last but not least, Frankie, you brought us all here to help us realize that we need a little bit of each other in order to bring an ultimate balanced decision, addressing and praising each group's involved. If we keep going on in our own mindset, we travel down a narrow-minded pathway, resistance to change, understanding, knowledge, compassion, and questioning. These help us to make right decisions for ourselves and for all humanity.
Oh, God.
Oh, Siggy, I know what you're thinking. How does this answer our problem.
Exactly.
Well, let me remind you all, remember Finland. Great country, great education example. Remember the children, they got to study in groups and they understand well, no stress.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
And there was no standardized testing, but there was. You may be thinking, they had it in the secondary part of their schooling. Can we not come to a compromise? Something similar.
Well, you know something, Pikachu?
Pihua.
What?
Pihua.
Gesundheit. I think you might be right. Look, I gotta tell you all something right now. I've been involved in business my entire life. So naturally I know a thing or two about the way the world works.
Oh, brother, here we go.
But that's just it. For me, it's always been about the business. I've always been looking to see how this will affect the market, never really assessing the true value of something. Even here, with education, with standardized testing, I'm looking at the business angle of things. All this time, I've only ever seen education as a means to an end, a way to instill a sense of hard work and patriotism in future citizens' minds.
Well, wait a second, Rex. Are you actually having an epiphany on live air? I mean, this is incredible.
What? No, of course not. I'm not saying that at all. Don't be preposterous. Lady, all I'm saying is education is an investment.
Isn't that just a means to an end, Stu?
Well, I suppose you're right. Yes, it is.
Then what was the point of you saying all that, Rex? Like, honestly.
Obviously, because I'm right. Don't you see? I was right all along. It makes perfect sense.
Frankie, you've been very quiet, Therese. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I just want to make sure Pinwan and Rex are okay. I think that it's getting a bit hot in here. It's
Yeah.
affecting the facial hair.
Radiation poisoning.
Yeah, that's
On the flight.
Space gas.
Spaceship. Yeah, that's all right.
Camera race.
Anyway, back to standardized testing. I think, from my point of view, and I'm sure the listeners will agree, it seems everyone on the board is trying to create the ideal outcome for students, parents, and teachers.
Absolutely.
Something
Yes.
you'll agree on?
I totally agree.
Yeah. Well, how about, I've written some notes down, how about only senior school students do the testing, and it's only done at the end of the year? This way, all the students participating with common goals, and teachers are being critiqued, parents are happy, and everyone is making a positive contribution to society.
Very good, Frankie. Very much like a Finland.
I have to disagree here. I have to disagree, simply because while one standardised test at the end of a student's education pathway would be good, we need more. We need some in primary, preferably 2 or 3 throughout the whole school experience. Otherwise, what's the point? It's not enough.
Well, I think we're getting on the right path there. I think it leaves a lot more work, but they should especially not be subjected to it at such a young age. Maybe senior school, and maybe at the end of year, but it needs a lot more work.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Chris. Rex, I just want to ask you this personally, but honestly, when you were doing the testing as a young child, can you remember actually enjoying it, ever?
I'm going to be honest, I'm going to level with everyone here. I loved tests. Absolutely
of
loved
course
them.
you did.
And can I just say to everyone right now, standardised tests made me into the man I am today.
Well, there's our argument right
Wow, that's a crazy!
Right, now everyone, we need to hurry up and wrap it up. I've got Tony Abbott coming up next,
Good
and
man.
I'm excited, I'm sure everyone else is, to see whether he's bringing his famous scissors to make any more cuts to education in the new world. Anyway, shall we flip a coin? Oh, it just so happens that someone has brought this into the studio this morning. It's a coin from Finland, and I think it's appropriate considering.
Frankie, quite in this day and age, what are you thinking? Your gambling problems is coming through. You must quit it.
I am sorry, but I oppose completely. We can't leave something important like this to chance.
I'm in agreement with Chris. I'm sorry, Frankie. It's just not appropriate.
I'm all for it. I think we should trust in the money, and I also think that this is an issue that it has to be all or nothing. And I cannot simply agree with some wishy-washy compromise proposed by these bleeding heart leftists.
Well,
Let
chance
me
is
cheat,
part of,
Dan. I want coffee.
Right, viewers,
chance is part of the universe. Go ahead, try.
Tails, call tails,
I
tails,
haven't done this
tails.
for a while.
Tails, come on.
It's heads.
Well, I suppose you should eat your mustache then.
Oh, feeling hungry.
Challenge her at the
Chop,
start.
Alright, I'll do it.
Oh, tasty.
Right guys, that's enough. Alright, I'm getting the nod. Thank you for coming in today. We know you're all very busy with your schedules trying to create the new millennium and everything. Listeners, standardised testing will be held next month, and the full education report will be out on the 22nd of August. That's right, thank you. Thank you for listening. This is Fronty Phineas on Education FM. Coming up, Tony Abbott, but for now, blast from the past.
Well,
Pleasure of seeing you again, Chris.
yeah, say hi to me. I have absolutely nothing to say to you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks, Libby.
Libby, always a pleasure. Ooh,
Sorry.
good job, Pink Seaweed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, without any comment from me, I want you in your group to fill in the rubric. Talk to each other. Where we're going to be.
Oh, sorry.
You're going to sit there. Do your rubric. What it's in your mind.
Oh, we got it. No. I've only got 4. I only got 4.
Why is there only 4?
Oh, 4 groups. We mark one thing.
How many have you got out there? You've
That's right, we got 4.
There's some more there. There's some over there.
Oh, they're stairs.
And when you guys also jump up to me, panicking and stuff.
I was just waiting for someone to do something. You can play with 2 on there.
That's what I was thinking.
Why do I always get the word change? Like always.
Oh, yeah.
I did, I loved it, it was awesome. Yeah. And then we
I was losing because I was looking at them as much as well as looking while I was reading.
Where do you guys want to sit? Or we can just take this row.
Here's your... Oh, yeah.
Set up the table.
I should have used the black one. That one was perfect. Probably added
Want to be video, Daniel? Do you want to be video? No, video. Don't mind. Okay, the board.